How's it going, everybody? This is the Nitty Gritty. My name is Chad. With me, as usual, is Leonard. And this is a show about wrestling, and we like to do fun topics here. This week, I am coming to you from a new location. I am in the bowels of my house here, where all the DVDs have been shoved to the corner so that they are out of people's way. But they make for a nice background in this case. So hopefully this is the permanent location and I don't have to move around, right, Leonard?
Yes, and again, I still have absolutely zero behind me.
That's right.
And
So it's a weird contrast going on.
yeah, so we got the spare room upstairs. I've got some wrestling posters up. Maybe at some point I'll move into there.
All right. Well, this week we are going to be bringing you another episode of our Unstable Stables series. And basically, that is, in short, Leonard will go over the rules here, but in short, this started how we would take a stable and we would take all the members in the history of that stable and divvy them up into teams and then make a makeshift card. This one is not necessarily a stable, but it's a good idea. Leonard, do you want to talk about your idea and then the details of the rules?
Yeah. So I came up with, and I was just trying to think because we'd never done women for this, and there's not really a all female stable, or if there is, they're very, very small. So I had an idea to look, and it actually worked out really well numbers wise. But tonight we're going to do the 20 women who held the WWE Women's title from when it got reinstated in 1998 after Medusa Maselli dropped it in the trash can on Nitro to when it was discontinued in favor of the Divas Championship in 2010. So the only the only champion that isn't on the draft board is Hervina, which is Harvey Whippleman in drag.
Yeah, had you not detailed who that was, I would not have known in any way. What year, do we even know what year that was?
I don't have it listed by year. It was very early on in the title's lineage, so I believe it was pre-2000.
Okay, all right.
You will see that the champions get better as we go, and then kind of drop off again.
Yeah.
So here's the draft board, and I got them listed in the order that they held the title. When you draft them, you're getting them when they were champion. For most of these ladies, it's pretty near the peak of their career or at the peak. And some of these women, of course, held the belt more than once during this time period. But in order, we have Jacqueline, Sable, Deborah, Ivory, the Fabulous Moolah, the Cat, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley, Lita, Chyna, Trish Stratus, Jazz, Molly Holly, Victoria, Gail Kim, Mickie James, Melina, Candice Michelle, Beth Phoenix, Michelle McCool, and Layla L.
All right.
So since I got the first pick last time, Chad gets the first pick this time. And then after the draft, we seed them into a card, and I'll explain the card when we get there.
All right. Sounds good. This is always a lot of fun to do, especially now that we've been doing kind of non-stable stables.
Yes.
But I will get started with our first pick, and Leonard can probably guess who that will be, and it will be Mickie James.
Actually, no, that's not who I was thinking you were going to go with. That is actually a surprise to me. I thought you were going to go with the lady I'll go number one. I thought you were going to go Trish Stratus.
Ooh, wow. See, that's not who I thought you were going to go with number two.
Okay, so we're really surprising each other on this one.
Yeah, so then my number two pick will be Chyna.
Okay, again, wouldn't have thought Chyna would be that high for you. I'm going to go Beth Phoenix.
Beth Phoenix. I like that one. So my number three pick will be Stephanie McMahon Helmsley.
You are blowing my mind.
Think about the pull she has.
I guess. We'll have to argue that when we get to her.
Yes, she's the CEO.
She may do what's good for business and take a job, right? And this is probably going to surprise you. Number 3, I'm going Gail Kim.
No, that you know what? That's a really solid pick because she's very underrated.
Yeah.
But I am going to pick Lita for my next pick.
Lita, I thought Lita would go in the top 4 or 5. I'm not a big fan of Lita in the ring. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that when we get to whatever match she's going to be involved with. I'm going to continue to go with solid and underrated. I'm going to go Ivory.
Ivory, that would have been on my list as well. But I'm going to go now with the longest reigning women's champ of all time, the Fabulous Moolah.
Now you get Moolah like 2001 Moolah or something.
Oh, come on now. It has to be 2001 Moolah, not Moolah in her prime.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I tell you what. For Moolah, I'll make an exception. You get prime Moolah.
Yeah, if this were Mae Young, I would have taken her in any era.
yes, Mae Young, especially because like a hardcore tables match.
Yeah,
I would totally take Mae Young. Okay, so you took Moolah. I'm gonna go with the personal favorite of mine, and I think yours too. I'm gonna go Molly Holly.
Yeah, I wish I would have picked her, but in any event, I think I'm gonna go with Jazz next.
Jazz was on my list. I was probably gonna go her next if you didn't take her. So I'm gonna go with Victoria.
Victoria, another underrated talent.
I'm getting a lot of underrated gals, I think.
You know what? I am going to go with Mrs. Taker, Michelle McCool.
Okay. Now, I'm thinking, do I want to pull a Chad here and take Michelle's natural tag partner? I'm not gonna do it to you. I'm not gonna do it to you.
You know what? I'll be honest with you, Leonard. Before you even say, I have this one, I have not been thinking along the lines of tag teams in any way, shape, or form.
In any way. So you've got no concept of taking Layla.
No, if you want her, go right ahead.
You know what? Since she's been name dropped, I'll take Layla.
All right, yeah, because the women's tag division, if anybody, even Leonard or anybody out there argues that there's a dominant women's tag team, they need to watch more wrestling week to week. So, but anyway, all right. So Layla L is off the table. I am going to go way out of left field and pick somebody that I think probably she could have gone last in reality, but we have a special match on here that I know she's good at. I'm going to go with Sable.
Okay. Yes, Sable was at the very bottom of my draft board. I'll tell you that. I gotta take someone that I would say she's the best wrestler left on the board. I'm taking Jacqueline.
Yep, that's a good one. Well, in that case, I am going to have to pick the Cat.
Okay. And then I'm going with of the 3 ladies left, I'm going Candice Michelle.
All right. And that means I am going to take Deborah.
Oh, I was hoping I would wind up with Deborah. So that means Melina is the last pick.
You know what? When I was looking at this list beforehand, I thought that she might be among the bottom 3.
I thought that as well. I thought that pretty much Kat, Deborah, Melina, and Sable I thought would be the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
So let's recap before we get to the card. Chad's roster is Mickie James, Chyna, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley, Lita, Fabulous Moolah, Jazz, Michelle McCool, Sable, the Cat, and Deborah. I have Trish Stratus, Beth Phoenix, Gail Kim, Ivory, Molly Holly, Victoria, Layla L, Jacqueline, Candice Michelle, and Melina.
All right.
So here's the card. Or do you want to make a comment?
No comments. I think that these are good, evenly matched teams. I wasn't, with this roster of gals, I don't know that I had a strategy, which might come back to bite me in the ass by the end of this. So
Yeah, well, I thought you were going to go certain ways, so I was already thinking ahead to who I wanted, and I got some of the ladies I wanted, and some I didn't. Although my mid card, I think wrecks your mid card, but we'll see how that goes. So here's 7-match card. There you go, 7-match card. It's going to be a standard singles match, a tag match, a bra and panties match, which was very popular during this time period, a singles match, a hardcore match, a tag match for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, and a singles match for the WWE Women's titles. Now, if I did the math right, which is highly dubious, that's 9 women each we'd be placing. So one woman gets to be a manager, and she can be a manager for any match, anytime, but she only gets to do it once, and we don't have to call that till we get there for her.
all right.
So Chad had the first pick. I get the first placement on the card. And since I have a super solid mid card, I'm going to throw Ivory out to start with. I think she is a very accomplished veteran. While she doesn't work necessarily a high-flying or fast-paced style, I think she would be great to be in an opening match to get the crowd awake.
All right. And I am going to give Ivory her toughest competition to date, Cat. So, yes, Ivory is very underrated. She came from Glow. And I don't know how many people know that, but it is true. So
she wrestled as Tina Ferrari.
That's right. And so she's had a long career. And despite the fact that she customarily plays a heel, she is in real life a very positive person. If you go back and listen to her Hall of Fame speech, you can see that. So yeah, I've always really enjoyed Ivory. The Cat had a controversial career, was a lot of really, sexist matches, I guess you could say. At this point, mud matches and bra and panties matches, and
notoriously got topless on the pay-per-view.
Right, and obviously at the time, very attractive lady. Have no idea what she's doing now, but her in-ring talent she was never known for. So I think Ivory would win this easily, Leonard. But if you like the Cat, please tell me now.
No, I can't make an argument for the Cat beating Ivory. Kind of makes me wish I would have put someone else in and saved Ivory. But of all the women who the Cat could have got here, Ivory could probably walk her through a passable match. And of course, Ivory and the Cat had a feud and had heat. We talked about that when we did Right to Uncensored. Right. So, this could be the kind of blow off to that never really happened, because once the Cat joined Right to Censor, she left the company shortly after.
Right.
And Jerry Lawler, who she was married to at the time, left as well with her. Again, that was part of all the controversial stuff you were talking with. Yeah.
Right. And who'd she follow around? Sable, right?
So, yes. And originally, I believe she was Sable's valet or second or assistant or.
I probably could have gone with a tag team there, but
Yeah, well, if you wanted to just phone in the tag match.
Right.
So Ivory wins the opener, and we go to a tag match. So again, Chad, you get first placement here. Who is your tag team?
All right. So my first tag team is going to be Stephanie McMahon Helmsley and the Fabulous Moolah.
Oh.
Stephanie McMahon is, an authority figure. She consults her trusty time machine. She says she needs a tag team partner, and out of the time machine steps a prime Fabulous Moolah.
All right. Given the fact that Chad is going to make the stroke argument here, that these women are just going to win on their backstage power and prowess, I'm probably going to throw who I would consider maybe my bottom two ladies on here. Now I want to save one of my ladies for a match coming up. So I'm going to give you Candice, Michelle, and Layla L.
Wow. See, I didn't think you were going to use Candice Michelle here,
Okay.
which is interesting to me. So, yeah, I would assume then that Stephanie McMahon, Helmsley, and the Fabulous Moolah would make quick work with Candice and Layla. Even if they weren't using stroke, Stephanie McMahon is a woman that is very physically fit. She's not small. And the Fabulous Moolah's legacy, speaks for itself, at least the good parts of it anyway. Yeah, I would think that this is an easy win here. Our first two matches, Leonard, not classics.
No, not classics by any measure. And I think Layla's very underrated. I think she was good. Of course, putting Layla and Michelle together would have made a lot of sense, but we didn't go that way. And I assume that you thought I was going to save Candice for the bra and panties match.
Yeah, I did. That's what I thought you were going to do. Yeah.
I'm going to use Melina for that.
All right. Well, so I am going to use Sable.
Okay.
And as much as I like Melina and her entrance, and she's taken her life predominantly away from wrestling. I think she did get into NWA Power there for a little while. But Sable, especially if she's coming in, maybe just, in the back of your head, Leonard, maybe she's coming in with that girl from the Howard Stern show. I forget her name off the top of my head.
Nicole Bass?
Yeah. She was the manager for Sable there for a while. Maybe she's there, maybe she's not, Leonard. You can't prove that she's not there. Mm-hmm. So let's just say, but in all seriousness, I think Sable was better in the ring, and especially in these matches. Like, there's no loser here. Okay. So
let me ask you this. Who would you rather see in her bra and panties, Melina or Sable?
Melina, definitely, because we've seen all that Sable has to offer.
Okay. Well, then that would mean, see, I just talked myself out of the win here. because Sable would, see, you know what my strategy was. I was going to take Fabulous Moolah and put her in this.
Just so that I selected Sable.
Just so the other person would win. So yeah, I'm going to agree with you here because I would much rather see Melina in her bra and panties than Sable.
There we go.
So by us both preferring Melina, Sable gets the win. So the loser's the winner and the winner's the loser in this.
There are no losers in that match.
All right. So singles match, standard singles match. You get the first pick again here.
All right. So I am going to pick Michelle McCool.
And I'm going to give Michelle McCool Gail Kim.
Oh, I wonder, like, these two were around the same time. I'm sure they had a match, if not multiple matches.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover here, I would assume. Although, and this may speak to the quality of the division at the time, I can't say I remember outside of, say, the Lita and Trish Stratus feud and Trish Stratus and Mickie James. Right. I remember a lot of what else was going on here.
Right. So I do think that this would be an even match. However, if we're talking about who had the better legacy as an in-ring talent and maybe who was around longer, you would, in that case, you would lean towards Gail Kim because she had such a healthy run in TNA. However, Michelle McCool was commonly a heel, and I forget who she had with her, but she had somebody with her that would a lot of times interfere in her matches, especially in Michelle McCool Mickie James feud where they.
Are you thinking of Lay Cool or are you thinking of Layla L?
Is that who it was? Yeah.
Yeah. If that's who you're thinking of, yeah.
So Layla's on your team, so I can't pick her. But in any event, I would probably give the edge here to Gail Kim.
I would do the same as well. I think, as we mentioned before, Gail Kim is very underrated, but a great just overall in-ring talent. And as you mentioned, if you throw in her TNA career, very long-lived, held a bunch of different titles, very accomplished in the ring. Michelle McCool, I never thought was great in ring, and she only really sparkled, I think, towards the end of her career when she was paired with Layla. I think they had good chemistry and they did a lot of stuff together well. So yeah, I agree with you here. I think Gail Kim in a straight up wrestling match like this would have the advantage. So next we have a hardcore match, and I get the first placement here, and I think I know where you're going, but I'm going to go with Jacqueline.
All right. And for my hardcore singles match, I am going to go with Lita, accompanied by Deborah.
Okay.
So the argument here would be pretty obvious, and that would be that if there is one talent in this match that has more experience with hardcore style of wrestling, it would obviously be Lita. Now, I know Leonard doesn't like her in-ring work, and I'm sure he'll explain why, but in terms of this match, I would say Jacqueline is more of the coach, more of the kind of classic in-ring technician. You always know you can get a trustworthy match out of her, and, you know, she's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. She was a very reliable talent. I don't know that she ever had the feuds that she should have, but I would give the edge to Lita here simply because I think it's more of her MO.
Yeah, see, here's what I think about Lita. I think she is a lot sloppier in the ring than a lot of people would think. I don't think she was very polished in the ring. Now, I give her credit on developing over time, but especially her lead assault, I always thought looked dangerous to her and others. But again, we're talking a hardcore match. So given the fact that she can, use weapons and quote unquote sloppiness can get looked over here. But I can say Jacqueline is tough as nails. She's tough as hell, and that's why I saved her for the hardcore match. She's gonna really, really take it to Lita. I mean, trash cans, tables, chairs, everything.
Except for the fact that Lita has Deborah.
Yes. So I don't know how helpful Deborah is in this type of match. I think Jacqueline smacks her with a trash can lid and she's out for the rest of the bout.
But it was that distraction that allowed Lita to get the chair shot.
It could very well be. And I think if you compare popularity, that's what I was going to next. Lita is way more popular than Jacqueline. And I think that Lita, say her personality, in-ring persona would be one where she could take a beating from Jacqueline 10 to 15 minutes and then make the comeback. So I'm going to side with you and go with Lita with Deborah here. And I do think having an extra with, even if it's Deborah, would give some help.
Yeah. Minimal, but some.
Minimal when it's Deborah. Minimal when it's
If anybody could talk the referee's head off, it was Deborah.
Yeah, so next is tag team titles.
All right. And I think
so you get first placement because I got
first placement here.
Yes.
Well, Leonard.
Yes.
I don't care who you have left here because you're going to have to find somebody that can go up against Chyna and Jazz.
Chyna and Jazz. All right. And you know what? I kind of screwed myself, and I've got some pretty good ladies left. I still have to have a manager at some point. So do I throw, you know what? Maybe I throw all my eggs at the world title match. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. You get Molly Holly and Victoria.
All right. Well, I love both of the ladies that you selected. I really, really do. The Widow's Peak, to me, is one of the best looking finishers. You know, if we were ever going to go over finishers in general, I always loved it. Now, it's hard to put on, but I always thought that looked great. Molly Holly, one of the more underrated females in the ring. And you know what? I would add one of the more underrated beauties in wrestling as well. But they are no Chyna and Jazz. So I think this is going to be an uncomfortable day at the office for Molly Holly and Victoria. What do you think, Leonard?
Well, you know what? I was going to make my tag team if I got her and you drafted her too quick. I was going to go with Jazz Jacqueline as my tag team.
There you go.
For the tag team titles match. That was going to be a hell of a thing. Chyna, I thought, would also be good for the hardcore match because Chyna is someone, too, who I don't really like her in ring work, but her look and her style and her power makes her really good for a hardcore match.
True.
So I think this is definitely where you have two big brutish heels against underdog baby faces and very sympathetic baby faces.
Right.
At that. And I think you could make an argument that given the right type of booking, that your sympathetic baby faces could win. And I think that Molly and Victoria are better in-ring workers than Chyna and Jazz.
I don't disagree with you.
Yes, straight up. I think both women today are particularly underrated. And as far as attractiveness too, I think both are underrated in that department as well. I always really liked both of them a lot. Especially Molly. Back when she was, had the blonde hair and was part of the Holly family, was extremely cute.
Yeah.
So I think you can make an argument for Molly and Victoria, but if I am booking logically, I think it makes more sense for Chyna and Jazz to win. It's kind of like saying, oh, we're going to put the Road Warriors against the Mulkeys. So the Mulkeys, why not? No. So I'm going to give you this one too. I'm going to go with Chyna and Jazz over Molly and Victoria.
All right.
So we got the title match, and yes, I decided to throw everything I had left at the title match, see if I can win the main event. So I'm going to give you Trish Stratus with Beth Phoenix on the outside as her enforcer against
Mickie James.
Yes.
So, this kind of throws a wrench in everything. Because assuming that this was going to be a one-on-one, my argument would have been for the WrestleMania, which Mickie James won. And they had such a classic feud. And I know they had more than one match, but that's the match that I would think most people remember. And Mickie James, he's just such a great in-ring talent. And you know what? If I'm honestly, like putting Beth Phoenix out of the equation, I honestly think Mickie James is like maybe not far and away, but a clear-cut better talent overall. Trish Stratus always worked really hard. I give her the utmost credit. She was always in peak physical condition, still is. But in terms of in-ring talent, somebody that could mold with the times, Mickie James is at the top of the list all time, in my opinion, at least in the conversation of top 5 for sure. However, Trish Stratus has the Glamazon in her corner. And unless maybe Leonard will say the Glamazon isn't going to interfere because she wants to see a straight up one-on-one match. This is the main event.
No, she's interfering.
Okay. So you know what? I can't make an argument how Mickie James, unless she's coming out with Nick Aldis, gets rid of Beth Phoenix. So I can certainly see Trish getting the win here, especially if you have a heel Trish and a heel Beth Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. That would be what I would think here, and I would counter your argument about Mickie James should win because she's clearly the better in-ring talent. That was the argument that you agreed to on the tag title match, but we still gave it to Chyna and Jazz.
That's true.
Yes, and similar here, Trish Stratus is the bigger name than Mickie James. I think Mickie is aged like a fine wine and is fantastic in and out of the ring still today. But Trish Stratus was always the bigger name. And if you say, hey, Mickie won the WrestleMania match, okay, she owes Trish a win back. So,
I'm glad we didn't have to go down that route.
Yes. But, a lot of people, I guess, are going to say, why did you say Beth Phoenix? I forgot that there was a manager slot. I just forgot.
See, I noticed that during the hardcore match, and
Mhm.
I was like, I know he's going to give me somebody that's equal to Lita, or at least near there. So I was like, this is the match that I'm going to have to use it on. And let's be fair here. Let's say I had saved Deborah for this. I
Mhm.
wouldn't have been in any better shape.
No, I don't think Deborah helps against Beth Phoenix. I think it's a great spot when Beth Phoenix destroys Deborah.
Yeah.
On the outside. I think that's a good spot. So yes, I think I lucked out by having Beth Phoenix still in the stall. Let me ask you this: what if I had reversed it? What if Beth Phoenix was wrestling with Trish Stratus on the outside?
It might have been the same outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I don't know that the outcome would have been totally different. I'll be honest, I'm less familiar with Beth Phoenix's in-ring work. I've seen some of the matches, but what I remember her most is for the comedic stunts that she would do with Santino and the Great Khali, all that stuff.
Right.
Her in-ring work, like I know some of the matches she's had recently, but yeah. So I mean, I could make an argument there that Mickie James is just better, but again, you would have Trish on the outside. So
yeah. And Beth too, I think because of her size, and I don't think she was ever used in this role, but she would be a great like bodyguard, like Chyna was early
absolutely,
on.
yeah.
I think Beth Phoenix works like that. So especially if we're talking a heel Trish, her having a Beth Phoenix style enforcer bodyguard on the outside,
Ain't nobody beating that.
That would fit that. And again, I think I lucked out by having Beth still in the queue by accident, because definitely, Beth. What if I put Beth Phoenix in the hardcore match instead of Jacqueline?
Well, then I think Beth Phoenix would have won that.
Okay, so I'm trading wins more or less here.
Pretty much. So what's the final tally, Leonard?
So the final tally is you beat me 4-3.
I did not see. I thought we would have been tied.
No, it was seven matches. So I'll recap now. Ivory beats the Cat in the opener, so that was a win for me. In the tag team match, Candice, Michelle, and Layla loses to Stephanie McMahon and Moolah, so that's a win for you. Bra and Panties match, Sable beats Melina, which was a win for you. Singles match, Gail Kim beat Michelle McCool, which was a win for me. In a hardcore match, Lita with Deborah beat Jacqueline, which was a win for you. In the tag titles match, Chyna and Jazz beat Molly Holly and Victoria, which was a win for you. And then the WWE Women's title match, Trish Stratus with Beth Phoenix beat Mickie James, which was a win for me.
All right. Well, I believe previously we were tied. I think it was 3-1. So,
I remember that was a tie in there, and I didn't keep track of the overall. So
no, I think this would then put me up by 1. So
I would say this
are always very close, which is fun.
Yes. We either tie or you win, or one of us wins by 1. It's never.
I think it wasn't until it was the beginning. I think I forget who it was. Somebody got shut out only won 2 matches or something like that.
Yeah, it was early on. I don't remember which one it was. Was it the Horseman? No, I think it was one of the NWO drafts. I think one of us got no. I think it was the Horseman draft because the Kendall Windham strategy backfired.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was the Horseman match because I figured, if I've got Kendall, I'll put him with his brother, and it totally threw everything off, and I got destroyed. It was the Horseman. Yes.
Well, next time we'll try and get a actual stable for you if we can dig one up. Although
I've got an idea, Dangerous Alliance.
All right.
And there's different versions of those: AWA, WCW, ECW. So we can draw from different guys from different companies and some slightly different time periods.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. Check us out on Spotify and/or Apple Podcasts. Check out our shorter videos, our stupid questions, and our random match reviews. Please let us know in the comments what you think about how we divvied up these teams and who we thought would win the matches. Any comment is welcomed. And for Leonard, my name is Chad. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time, and Alexa will see you out.